meeting to order for Thursday, May 5th, 2022. May I have a roll call, please?
Leon Davis.
Here.
Rick Bowman. David Randolph. Jennifer Meyer. John Brown.
Here.
Scott Lester. Chairman.
Here. Okay, may I hear a motion to approve items 1A through 1G as presented by staff?
Motion to approve the consent agenda?
I second that item.
Leon Davis.
Yes.
John Brown.
Yes.
Scott Lester.
Yes.
Chairman.
Yes. Okay. First item on the agenda. Thanks for coming, Robert. Okay, it's JZ 22-676. Correct the underlying zoning for planned unit development 133 to better align with the townhome uses, changing from residential multifamily to residential townhouse. General location is 504 East B Street.
Thank you, Madam Chairman and Planning Commissioners. This item came to Planning Commission December 21st, 2021, and it was approved. It's recommended for approval unanimously by Planning Commission. It went to City Council and was approved in December for ordinance number 1573. The application, as the letter stated, was approved granting the request by J.R. Donaldson for approval of a planned unit development and changing the underlying zoning to RM2, residential multifamily, medium density for the purpose of building townhomes. During that time, I talked to the city attorney and to get other legal opinion because I advertised it as RTH, but we rezoned it to RM2. We need to correct that. So this does not change the approved planned unit development, and I underlined that in the first paragraph. There are no changes to the approved PUD or the site plan, and this is considered a zoning correction. So I apologize for my error. I did update the chart and threw in the UDO information just so that you would have it. So on page 65 of 164, it talks about PUD 133 was approved providing restrictions to the land in question, and city staff is requesting to change the underlying zoning from RM2 to RTH. The details of the approved restrictive zoning, the planned unit development, do not change. This project is similar in design to 523 Brownstone Apartments. Approving this request would allow the changes to the underlying zoning, and it does not change any of the conditions of the plat or the PUD. And staff does recommend making this change.
Any questions or comments from the commissioners?
Yeah, just a couple quick questions. On the proposed PUD that starts on page 67, will the language of that be updated where it says RM2 throughout? Do we need to do that?
Yes.
Okay. A couple of other things that I had questions on that probably would be relevant to the next item as well. And maybe I was asleep at the wheel on this one. We didn't have the UDO in place at that time as far as codified, and I was a little concerned about the setback issues because these were non-conforming to the new UDO.
Right.
And I think my main concern was because it was on 5th Street as a residential collector, I'm seeing a 6 foot setback proposed. Is that to the property line of the building?
It's, from a technical perspective, it would be to the building, but the actual site plan takes the building further back.
That's what I was trying to look at on both of the proposals tonight, the actual distance between the curb and the side of the building to make sure that there's enough visibility for oncoming traffic going north if they're going to be able to see.
Yeah, they have to meet that side triangle requirement and others, they have to meet the other requirements as well.
Okay, and then I also noticed there was a slight difference on the layout on the map. So one of the plats actually showed some trees on the west side between the buildings and the sidewalk, and the second exhibit did not. Didn't know if we were going to have trees planted in there, if that was going to be part of the landscape plan.
Yes.
Okay. And then the last question I had on this, they're referencing sidewalks. These will be curbed as well?
Yes, they're putting in curb and gutter and new storm sewer.
Okay, and the curbs will have the cutouts for handicap access mobility?
Yes,
All
we
right.
have to meet all of those requirements.
Okay, that's all I need, thanks.
And, those questions would be the same.
Same exact, yeah.
Okay, anyone else? Anyone in the audience wishing to speak on behalf of this agenda item? You're welcome to come forward, give us your name and address. No one? Okay, close the floor. Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion to approve JZ 22-676.
I'll second that.
Leo Davis,
Yes.
John Brown,
Yes,
Scott West,
Yes.
Jeremy.
Yes. Next item on the agenda is JZ 22-677. To correct the underlying zoning for planned unit development 134 to better align with townhome uses, changing from the residential multifamily to the residential townhouse. This general location is at 504 East C Street.
Thank you, Madam Chairman and Planning Commission. This is, this project is very similar, it's the same developer, it's the same exact concept, it's a different, I believe this one's the smaller one. Smaller lot. The Planning Commission approved the PUD and the rezoning 7-0, and City Council approved it on March 22nd, 2022, which is just, 2 months ago, barely, month and a half, and they adopted it for ordinance number 1577. There are no changes to the approved PUD or the site plan. This is also considered a zoning correction. So this happens to be, we did 2 back-to-back. Both of them were noticed as RM2, but the actual uses is a townhome type use, and staff is asking for correction to the underlying zoning. They also turned in a plat for this one and the previous project, item number 3. Both of those plats were on consent and have been approved. So if you look at page 86, where I added the UDO standards, that was not in the original packet. 87 shows the actual site, so that's, C Street is on the north and Fifth Street is on the west of the site. If you go to page 89, it says PUD 134 was approved, providing restrictions to the land in question. So when you get that PUD, it says this is what it can be done, what can be done, and the site plan was approved, etc. So maybe it was not required for us to change the underlying zoning, but I was advised to go ahead and change it to match the use and the way that it's was advertised. Approving this request only changes the underlying zoning. PUD 134 is not under consideration. And then I did include the PUD document, and I didn't think about it, but Commissioner Brown is correct. We'll need to go in and change the language on the PUD document as well to RTH. I think that is it. I do not have any other comments. Staff does recommend approval to correct the underlying zoning from RM2 to RTH.
Any questions?
I had one wild card question that was different from the other, and that was police having looked at this from a traffic engineering standpoint. The difference between this and our previous was the on-street parking is actually on the collector street. So we got parallel on Fifth.
Correct.
So it's
The fire and police have looked at it, they've talked about it, and the council did have that conversation. They felt like as long as it was parallel, that it would be satisfactory.
that's it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Anyone in the audience wishing to speak on behalf of this agenda item? Close the floor. Do I hear a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve JZ 22-677.
Leo Davis,
Yes.
John Brown,
Yes.
Scott West,
Yes.
Jeremy.
Yes. Next item on the agenda is JZ 22-678. Request by Stephen Collins for a zone change from agricultural to commercial shopping and residential estate at 9202 South Union Avenue.
Thank you, Madam Chairman and Planning Commissioners. This is the corner, the southeast corner of 91st and Highway 75 or Union. It's actually Union. And, since I've been here for 2 years, we've had multiple conversations with the previous landowner. Like, maybe we could do this, maybe we could do that, lots of questions. The biggest problem is that corner has issues with infrastructure. So, I think it was probably, a really good blessing to the surrounding neighbors that this family came forward and purchased the land. They are asking to rezone the first 500 plus feet as commercial. There would be 6 lots dedicated, adjacent to Union, and then the back portion would be dedicated for their family, and they have, I believe, 4 lots dedicated for residential use. So they do have to they are in the process of rezoning today. Originally, when we sent out the notice, it was my understanding that they were going to rezone all of the west portion of the lot to RE, but because one of the family members would like to have chickens, it's going to stay ag in one portion. So I'll show you, yeah, that's the page. If you can go to that one, Brandon. Yeah. So lots 1, 7, and 8 would be rezoned to residential estate, and that's kind of an L shape that wraps around the west and the south up to the commercial. And then lot 2 remains ag. Lots 3, 4, 5, and 6 will be commercial. So that being said, we have had multiple conversations, and if you remember, we just did a comprehensive plan amendment last month on this property, because previously when the comprehensive plan was adopted, that thought was all of that would become, or could potentially become regional commercial. But due to the infrastructure issues, we do not think that that is a viable option. And so we willingly changed it. And I also did it on behalf of the family, knowing that they were going to rezone to a residential estate in the back. So, let's see. There were a few comments, not a lot. I have some technical advisory comments that have been added as late as today. I was gonna say we had a lot of questions from surrounding neighbors during the comprehensive plan process and with the notice for the rezoning. No one that I talked to had verbalized any objections. That doesn't mean they didn't have any, they just did not verbalize them, and there may be people present in the audience today. The applicant is present if you'd like to speak with them and ask them questions. Other than that, staff does recommend approval of the rezoning request, and you have already approved the preliminary plat.
Any questions or comments?
Jump in again, sorry.
It's fine. I
Whoever did the
appreciate it.
deed of dedication restricted covenants, I really liked the way this was laid out. It was very thorough. I did have one question I noted on the topography. It looked like there was a lot of elevation changes, and there were references to stormwater detention. I couldn't tell by the size of the graphic where the detention pond was going to be located at for lot 8. I don't know if that.
Right. It's right there, that little square.
Okay.
The map, I am sure will be adjusted for additional conversations with the city engineer.
Okay, so there'll be maybe some hydrology evaluation on it. Yeah, I was curious whether or not there was any standing water in that currently, or if it's perked properly.
The engineer of record is also present, along with the property owner, and I'm sure he would be able to answer questions if you have any. Better than us.
How you doing?
Well, that's,
My name's Barrett Rosenbaum. I'm with Shipper Associates, and we're here to represent Woodhall and her family on this. You are correct. Detention will be required. We talked about that as we went through sort of a kickoff meeting. That location was arbitrary at this time. It's the lowest spot where all the water falls to the south. There's really no standing water that we know of today. We're going to build the road on the south side, and then sort of what you call impound that water on the north side, keep everything that's increased impervious area in that detention site. So we'll definitely handle that as we move forward.
thank you. I did have one other quick question on page 9, reference to driveways. There's reference saying driveways should be concrete or asphalt, and I did not have a chance to go back and look at the new UDO about asphalt. for this classification, is that gonna qualify?
And it can, I believe the new UDO states that it says, dust resurfaces or including asphalt or as provided by the city engineer, something like that. I know there's a little teeny bit of wiggle room, but it still has to be a dust resurface.
Is that, thank you.
And it will be a mutual access, not a public street.
Anyone else?
I just have a quick question.
I'll open it up for in a second, just want to make sure the planning commissioners don't have any other questions. Okay. Anyone in the audience wishing to speak on behalf of this agenda item, you're welcome to come forward. Give us your name and address.
Reg Ripper, 9350 South Union. My only question is what type of commercial buildings would be built on this? Like how many stories and what are the restrictions? What type of businesses would be going in there?
There's nothing planned at this time. It's being zoned to commercial shopping. They have some ideas, I think, but I do not know if they are concrete enough to even talk about them at this time. So anything that's not specified in their deed of dedication would automatically have to meet the requirements of the UDO.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
That means there's zoning regulations in place currently and that are applied to all commercial shopping district standards or they are the commercial shopping district standards, and this lot, the lots that are being rezoned would have to meet those requirements, just like anybody else.
Hi, I'm Jane Dunner, 2320 West 92nd Street. I have a few questions. Will there be sidewalks on the east side of the commercial area of the property? And does Jenks even really care about that?
Sidewalks are required.
They are required, okay. And is there intent to sell the commercial section east of the property?
I do not know if they have come to that conclusion yet.
And
It's
what
rezoning at this time.
is the total dimensions of the commercial area of the property?
I meant to print that off. It's
You
about,
said 500 east to west feet.
yes,
By what?
and the, whatever the other distance is. I had it on my desk and I forgot.
Is it the whole of the property? The whole?
Can you go back to the other picture? No, it's the red portion.
I mean, is it the total from the north to the south end of the property? Do you know what that dimension is?
It is,
495.
495?
495?
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, I can't see it.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else? Does the applicant wish to add anything else or say anything else about this?
No, that's good.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from commissioners? If not, do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve JZ 22-678.
Second.
Leon Davis,
Yes.
John Brown,
Yes?
Scott West.
Yes.
Chairman.
Yes. Next item on the agenda is TUP 22-49, request by Jenks Fireworks for approval of a temporary use permit to allow for the sale of fireworks. This is going to be at 11608 South Union.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. There's something about these over here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
I'm sorry, I meant to say this, our area does not perk. I just wanted to let you know about that.
I'm sorry, say that again?
I'll write it down.
We have a lot of clay in our soil and our area does not perk. I can tell you because I've got a gravel road and the water just doesn't disappear for days.
Thank
So
you.
you might want to keep that in mind.
Thanks, that's good to know.
Don't mind.
Okay, TUP 22-49 you may be, reminded that these are the last two temporary use permits for fireworks stands that you will see at the planning commission, because moving forward in the new UDO, as of April, they will go to staff, and as long as they meet all of the benchmarks that were established, you will not see them again. So.
Oh, that's
There's some sarcasm with that. But, so there's two temporary use permits. This one is 11608 South Union for Jenks Fireworks. This is a site that has been, active for forever and ever with fireworks stands. None of the change, there's, honestly, it's the same application.
Yes.
Literally. So staff recommends approval.
I am surprised that they're not tearing down until July 10th for their paperwork.
Did I say it wrong?
No, it says tear down July 10th, they're setting up on the 15th and down on the 10th, whereas the other one is coming down on the 5th.
Yes.
It says that, it's just a long time to get it sitting there.
Doesn't the code require it to be taken down?
Oh, it's 6. It looks like they're going from 5 days before to 5 days after.
I thought I actually had that in here, but no, I didn't see it.
Their application stays generic, saying that they're setting up around, tent set up around the 15th and take down around July 10th.
If you want to, require a different tear down date, you can.
I think we should be consistent. Let's see what the next one is.
I don't see it in here. It may be in the longer version.
I think I can speak for it.
They've got, what, 30 days under the TUP? Yes.
45, actually.
Is it 45? I
Uh-huh.
think they're just restricted on the sale.
Yeah,
Yes, yeah.
That is correct.
anyone in the audience wishing to speak on behalf of this agenda item? Okay, ready a motion?
We can hope so. I'll make a motion we approve TUP 22-49. Second.
Davis,
Yes.
John Brown,
Yes.
Scott West.
Yes.
Aaron,
Next one is TUP 2250, request by Melissa Torkelson for approval of a temporary use permit to allow for the sale of fireworks at 10597 South Elm.
Thank you, Madam Chairman and Planning Commissioners. This is a temporary use permit for Big Blast. This is the one that the Jenks band does as a fundraiser every year. Same site that has been used since I've been here. They've actually been in operation since 2012. I have nothing new to add, except that you will not see this next year. Staff does recommend approval for the dates that are written in their application.
Questions? Comments? Anyone in the audience? Motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve TUP 22-50.
I'll second that.
Leo Davis,
Yes.
John Brown,
Yes.
Scott West.
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes. Okay, any exciting updates?
Well, we have a lot of things going on in the city of Jenks, and I don't know if you all remember, we put the library lot, which was purchased by the city, which is west of the railroad tracks and south of Main Street. We put it out for RFP, we had 5 applicants, and that is all I can say about it. Super, super, super top secret, highly competitive. But we are very excited about it, and we look forward to someone being selected.
Look, the dome of silence.
Right, someone being selected and building something amazing there. The downtown master plan and the Riverblock master plan have both been on my plate for a long time. They just haven't gotten any action. So now that we're almost through the UDO, I have resurrected those projects, and you'll be hearing more about those moving forward. The actual UDO, I ran from town as hard and fast as I could as soon as the process was over. So I did not do anything regarding that. Came back and had to hit the ground running. I've now reviewed it. There were some additional edits, believe it or not. And I printed them this afternoon. I'm gonna go page by page to make sure that they did everything that I said they should do. So, and then Brandon made fun of me because I printed it on 11 by 17.
By mistake.
By mistake.
It's
Like,
keyword.
wow. Someone came down the hall, why is this an 11 by 17? So that being said, also on a happy but sad note for me, and I'll let you all speak whatever you have on your heart, but I just want to say thank you to Carol Minden because I absolutely appreciate every one of you, and I especially appreciate Carol and all the wonderful things that she has done. She has made my job very, very easy, and her professionalism and commitment is just A+, and I appreciate it. Thank you. Here.
We agree with that.
It's been an interesting journey, and I certainly have learned a lot in the city about how things are done over the past, I think it's been 18 years that I've been here, and the city has grown a lot, changed a lot. Good things, bad things, interesting interaction with the community, and I would say that the planning commissioners that we have now are probably the best team that I've seen, the best leadership. It's just everything goes so much smoother. Everybody has picked up the professionalism and the seriousness of the whole thing, and it's a great group of people, and I appreciate all of you guys and what you do and the hard work that you put in to make it easier for me to do my job, actually. And retirement is like, okay, I'm going to spend time doing my hobby with my dogs. Spend more time doing that, and I will miss this. But thank you all.
You can still come to the meetings.
Well, I did tell her that I would, if they couldn't find anybody and they needed me, I would still fill in. Only if you call me and ask me to come sit with you.
Did anyone else have any comments?
Scott, you've been over probably longer than anybody else. I defer.
I don't know how long it's been. 18 years, you said?
I think so.
You came on right after I did, yeah. So it's been a good team for two of us. We worked well together. I always enjoyed seeing you here, and we've done our best. Really appreciate that. And I love the way you run the meetings. Really good. I miss that for sure.
Yeah, and I will second that. You will be missed. You've been a blessing to work with. Great example. Fine servant of the community, and you run a great meeting. And you can bring a restaurant back.
No, I'm done with that. Not with restaurants anymore. I grew up in the hotel industry. I grew up in Massachusetts. My parents owned a resort, and I went to hotel school at Michigan State. And being in the hotel school in that world, you get back in the 70s and 80s, you got transferred around. So if you were good in your position, you got promoted to the next larger size hotel, and on and on. And the next thing I know, I started as a director of catering and convention services, and ended up as a food and beverage, was an assistant food and beverage director, and then became a food and beverage director. And through that route, brought me here to Tulsa at the DoubleTree at Warren Place. And then they decided that after, I think it was in 2001, they didn't need a food and beverage director anymore. So we went into the restaurant business with my husband, who's a chef, and we bought the Backstreet Bistro. And so we had that for 7 years, and in between they were building a new facility at Palazzo Shopping Center in Bixby at 101st and Memorial, and we decided that's where the growth was going and that's where we should move, and so we built a restaurant down there, and the next thing you know, it became pretty well known, and it was busy all the time, and a 5-year lease went to a 10-year lease, went to a 15-year lease, and then COVID came. It kind of really killed us, and with 1 month left on our lease, it's like, okay, time to go into retirement. So that was, and in between that, to learn this, it's like, wow, and the funny thing is I was so excited about being on the commission when the Outland Mall was coming, and I really wanted to be part of that, oh yeah, you're gonna have a good shopping center. And then the day that the meeting was, to approve it, was during the month of December, and of course we had Christmas parties, and I couldn't come to the meeting. And I was just like, damn, and of course it passed. Okay, but that's what happens.
Well, I want to say that I third the motion, since I'm the third person, and I appreciate your professionalism, and it's really, I'm not one who likes to go to a lot of meetings, but you do make this meeting go by smoothly, and you have a way of reeling everything in, and I appreciate that as well, because as soon as I think in my thought, I say, okay, it's time to reel it in, you reel it in, and so I appreciate your professionalism and how you do that. I regret that I didn't get a chance to make it to your restaurant, but while I was sitting here, but while I was sitting here, I kind of had like a little mini full circle experience, because my first meeting on the planning commission, we were talking about Jake's fireworks stands, and I thought to myself, way to close it out with Jake's fireworks stands. I just thought I'd just add that to it.
The things that have stood out the most have been signs, when they started doing the LED signs, and the signs of signs, that was like a key point that came up, and the fireworks deal was like another one that kind of was like one of those touchy things that's maybe not important in the big picture, but just it's enough of a little kink that's in there. It's like people in the community are going to care about this, and they're going to say, really, this is what Jenks is, or this is what Jenks is becoming with the signage, and it's just like, okay, thank you, Lynn.
Thank you.
Well, we have a little, I will say that we'll bring her to city council in the next couple of weeks and honor her. I told her I've been so busy, I haven't really grieved her loss because I can't remember that she's leaving until I have another meeting. I'm like, oh shoot, this is it. So it won't be immediately, but there you go. And I got,
This is why we have snacks.
what do you do for someone whose husband is a chef? I don't know.
I don't know.
So here's you can take them all home, or you can share them.
Oh no, we're
whatever you want.
sharing.
But thank you very sincerely.
My
Thank you
diet
so
would be
much.
bad. Well, thank you guys. Cheers. Good luck. And with that, we will call the meeting adjourned. We'll call a motion.
So move.
Okay. Aye.
All right, cupcakes, everybody. Meeting's over. Everybody come have a cupcake.